The air buzzed with the energy of early spring, and the cafe on Lexington Street was alive with the usual hum of conversation and clinking silverware. But Olivia Carter barely noticed. She sat by the window, nervously twirling a strand of hair around her finger, glancing at her phone every few seconds. Her heart thumped a little louder with each passing minute. Her date was late, only by 10 minutes, but still. She sighed, unsure why she had agreed to a blind date in the first place. She'd met Jason through a friend of a friend. She didn't know much about him other than the basics, his name, that he worked in environmental science, and that he was supposedly kind-hearted. That was enough to get her here, perched on the edge of a chair, wearing a pale blue dress that fluttered every time someone opened the door. Then, she saw him. Not through the main entrance, but through the wide glass window. He was pedaling toward the cafe on a beat-up bicycle, wearing a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up, khaki pants, and a messenger bag slung across his shoulder. His dark hair tousled by the wind, and the biggest, most disarming grin stretched across his face. Olivia blinked, confused. "Is this him?" she murmured. He parked his bike, locked it, and walked in, his eyes searching until they found hers. "Olivia?" She stood up slowly. "Jason?" He smiled. "Sorry I'm late. The traffic was a mess, and well, this guy isn't exactly a speed demon," he said, nodding toward his bicycle. She smiled politely but couldn't hide her surprise. "A bicycle?" They sat. The waitress came and went, and small talk bloomed slowly into something more comfortable. Jason spoke with a thoughtful calmness, listening more than talking, asking about her work as a pediatric nurse, her favorite books, her dog, Milo. Olivia found herself relaxing, laughing, enjoying his company. Still, a part of her couldn't stop wondering. No car. Was it a choice? Or necessity? Finally, curiosity got the better of her. "So, Jason, most people drive to first dates." He chuckled. "Yeah, I get that a lot. I used to have a car. But after some stuff happened a couple of years ago, I made a change. It's kind of a long story." She tilted her head. "I have time." And so, he began. 2 years ago, Jason had been a high-earning consultant for an oil company. He lived in a luxury apartment, drove a sleek black sports car, and flew first class. But everything changed after a business trip to Nigeria. There, he witnessed firsthand the environmental devastation caused by unchecked drilling. One village in particular left a mark: the water was undrinkable, the air thick with toxic fumes, and the children had rashes and breathing problems. "There was this little girl," he said softly. "Her name was Amma. She offered me a bottle of water when I visited her school. That water was dark brown. I couldn't drink it, but she did. That moment, it wrecked me." Jason came back home a different man. He resigned from his job within a week. He sold his car, moved into a modest one-bedroom apartment, and dedicated himself to environmental work, clean water initiatives, sustainable energy advocacy, community education. "It didn't make sense to keep living a life of luxury while trying to fight for the planet," he said. "The bike's a reminder. Every mile I pedal, I feel grounded again." Olivia was stunned. Her heart softened in a way she hadn't expected. In a world obsessed with wealth, status, and image, here was a man who had it all and gave it up, not for failure, but for purpose. Over the next weeks, their connection deepened. Jason brought her to community gardens where he taught local kids about composting. He helped repair old playgrounds in underfunded neighborhoods and spent weekends planting trees or cleaning up rivers. Olivia, who often carried the emotional weight of sick children and worried parents, found his work soothing, like a balm. He never preached. He just lived. One evening, a few months later, Olivia invited Jason over for dinner. The candles were lit, soft jazz played in the background, and Milo curled at his feet. After dessert, Jason pulled a small box from his bag. I wanted to show you something, he said. Inside was a necklace. A simple pendant carved from recycled wood, in the shape of a droplet. This is made from a tree that was about to be cut down last year, he said. We saved it, but a branch was too damaged. I kept a piece and carved this. It reminds me of that village, and you. You're like water. Healing. Life-giving. Beautiful. Tears welled in her eyes. She had never received a gift so thoughtful, so meaningful. Jason took her hand. You changed my world, Olivia. Just by seeing me. Not for what I used to be, but who I am now. She squeezed his hand. No. You changed mine. You reminded me that kindness still exists. That purpose matters more than possessions. Months passed. Seasons changed. And their love grew stronger, rooted in values, nourished by compassion. Then came a winter storm. One of the worst the city had seen in decades. Power outages, blocked roads, emergency shelters flooded with people in need. Jason didn't hesitate. He spent every waking hour volunteering at shelters, using his bike to deliver blankets, food, and medicine when even ambulances couldn't get through the snow. One night, Olivia couldn't find him. Hours passed. Finally, she got a call. Jason had collapsed from exhaustion and hypothermia after rescuing an elderly man stranded in the cold. She rushed to the hospital, heart in her throat. When he opened his eyes and saw her, he whispered, "I'm sorry. I couldn't leave him." She held him close, tears streaming down her face. Don't you ever apologize for saving lives. That's who you are. That's why I love you. Jason recovered, and news of his efforts spread. A local news station covered his story. Donations poured into his nonprofit, enough to build water filtration systems for 2 more villages. And that spring, on the same corner where they'd first met, Jason arrived again on his bicycle. This time, he knelt beside it. Olivia Carter, will you marry me? She laughed through happy tears. Yes. 1,000 times, yes. They didn't have a grand wedding. Instead, they married in the same community garden he had helped plant, surrounded by neighbors, friends, and kids he'd inspired. And at the altar, Olivia whispered, "That bike may have shocked me at first, but now, it's the most beautiful ride of my life." The lesson. In a world where appearances often overshadow authenticity, it takes true courage to live by values. Love rooted in purpose, kindness, and sacrifice outlasts all others. Sometimes, the most extraordinary journeys begin with the simplest of rides. On an old bicycle, guided by a heart full of compassion.